Welcome to the world of physics. So in the last class we were discussing about electrical charges and electric current. So yesterday we have discussed about the structure of atom. Then we have seen that what is electric current. The moment of negative charges or the moment of electrons are called electric current or electricity. Okay. So today we are going to discuss something more about electric current. Today we are mainly focusing on sources of electricity. Sources of electricity. So we have studied that electricity we know that electricity plays one of the important role in your life. In previous chapter, that means in chapter 3 where we were discussing about energies, we have seen that electricity is the most convenient form of energy. That means very easily we can convert electricity into different forms. Today, when we are discussing about sources of electricity, generally, the first sources we can start from small devices. Watch. Electrical energy is required. Watch is running with small button cells. So we can say that one of the sources of electricity are button cells. Then we know the cells of our clock, little more bigger one. Then little more bigger one, the battery what we are using. That means a big cell what we are using in torches. And we know there's other big sources we know in our daily life or when we are discussing about our daily activities like our home uses or the industrial uses. We know that power stations are there. And of course, the advanced sources of light, one of the most advanced one in nowadays is solar cell. Solar cell is a device or an instrument which convert light energy directly into the electrical energy form. So these are the sources of electricity. So what are the sources? Cells are there, batteries are there, electrical power stations are there, and solar cells are there. Battery means nothing. Combination of cell, more than one or more than 2 or 3 cells when we are combining together, that's called a battery. For example, in the torches and we used to put 2 batteries or 3 batteries, 3 cells. So these 3 cells are forming a battery. Okay, a combination of cells are called a battery. Now, regarding the power stations, electrical power stations, mainly there are 3 types of power stations: hydroelectric power station, thermal power station, and nuclear power station. Where in hydroelectric power stations we will use the stored water to produce electricity, and in thermal power station we are using heat energy to convert into electrical energy, and in nuclear power station we are using atomic energies. And in the textbook it is given that the speed of electricity is almost the speed of light, 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. And we have seen that electricity is the medium by which, that means in our body, the nerves are passing the messages using the speed of electrical signals. So this is having the speed of light. Just imagine the construction of our body. And today, generally we are discussing about electrical cells. So other things, the power stations and we will discuss later, or the solar cells and we will discuss in the later sections or the later classes. Today we are going to discuss about electric cells. So what is electric cell? Electric cells are the simplest sources of energy. Electric cells produces electrical energy by converting chemical energy into the electrical energy. So in electric cells, actually what is stored? Chemicals are stored. And in chemistry classes you might have learned that when the 2 chemicals are reacting, that means chemical reaction is there, some products will be there. Just like that, in the cells we have stored some chemicals, and when they react each other, electrical energy will be released, and we will be using that electrical energy. And we can divide the electrical cells into mainly 2 categories. The first one is primary cells and the second one is secondary cells. This is what today we are going to discuss. Primary cells are the cells which can be used only once. Primary cells are the cells which can be used only once. That means after completing the entire chemical reaction, that means we know that already the cells are producing electricity by chemical reaction, and we know that this reactants, that means the elements which are participating in the reaction, will vanish one day. That means we will get over one day by using. And after the completion of these the chemicals, then there will not be any further more electricity is produced from that cell. So that cell is dead, and the dead cell should be replaced by one new cell. And we are really taking that old cell and we are putting it into waste, and we are not able to reuse that one. Only we can use one time. That is called the primary cell. And whereas secondary cell means we can recharge and use. Once the charges or the chemical things are getting over, again we can convert, that means we can store the chemical energy there, and again we can use in the form of electric energy. For example, inverter is there in our home. So inverter, what we are doing, if you are looking at the inverter, you can see there are so many, like this 5-6 rounds you can see. Each one is a secondary cell. That's called inverter battery. Battery means combination of cells. So there are many sometimes 6, 8, 12 that much cells will be there. How much energy we need or how much amount of current or electricity we need output, that much number of cells we will increase. When the number of cells are increasing, what will happen? The amount of current provided by that battery will be more. So in this case, what we are doing, when the electricity is there, we are going to charge it. That means electrical energy is going to convert it into chemical energy, and chemical energy is stored inside the inverter battery. And when the power is lost, when the electricity is gone, at that time what will happen? This inverter battery will be converting chemical energy again to electrical energy, so that we can use our devices without the electricity, that means from the power station. Okay, now moving to the primary again. The primary cells, the cells which can be used only once. Is it now? Now again the primary cell can be divided into two categories: dry cell and liquid cell. Dry cell and liquid. Dry and liquid. That means, as I said, that these cells we are using, in these cells we are using chemicals, chemical components. This chemical can be in the form of liquid or can be in the form of thick paste. If the primary cell is what we are using, the chemicals that are stored in the form of a thick paste, we will call them as dry cell. We will call them as a dry cell. Whereas these chemical components are in the form of liquid, then we will call them as a liquid cell. Now, dry cells, in our daily life, there are so many examples for dry cell. In the watch battery, button cells we are using, or in alarm clock or remote, we are using the small cells, and in the torch light, we are using little more bigger one. All these are example of dry cell. All these are example of dry cell. And in the secondary cell also there is a dry cell and a liquid cell. You know that in inverter battery we are calling the water acid. So it's an example of liquid cell. And dry cell, what is in secondary dry cell? The mobile phone what you are using to watch the videos or the live classes, we know that it is rechargeable. Mobile one is rechargeable. When the charge is over, we will recharge. That means we will put in the socket and we will switch on, so that electric energy will be stored in the form of chemical energy. That is also not liquid cell, that is dry cell. So there are dry cells and liquid cells in both primary cells and secondary cells. And liquid cells means the components will be used in the form of liquid chemical components, and dry cell means the components will be in a thick paste form. Thick paste form. Clear now? Now again, there are some liquid cells called, that means primary cells, there are some liquid cells called voltaic cell, Leclanger cell and Daniel cell. So these cells are able to provide only a small voltage. Not only that, it is very difficult to handle, because when it can be fall down and this chemical can be spread somewhere, or we are not able to put that one in the alarm, because if we are keeping the liquid cell in alarm, what should be there? Alarm should be always at a particular level. If you turn here and there or upside down, then what will happen? This liquid will be overflowing or it will be coming out. So liquid cells are not preferred on the devices. it will be used only for the practical classes or the some experiments in our practical laboratory. Okay, now again coming to a simple dry cell. We are going to study about the main parts of simple dry cell. It's very important because in the exam it can be asked to explain with the diagram. So how this what are the main parts? See, a dry cell consists of or it is situated inside a sink container. It is situated in a sink container. At the center of the sink container, maybe this will be the sink container. This will there will be a small diagram will be there. This is called a sink container. This sink container at the center of the sink container there is a carbon rod is there. This is a carbon rod. This is a carbon rod. A carbon rod is there. And above the carbon rod there will be a brass cap will be there. And this will be acting as a positive terminal. And the bottom is going to act as a negative terminal. Okay, so a sink container at the middle of the sink container there is a carbon rod is there. On the top of the carbon rod there is a brass cap. Now around the carbon rod you can see a muslin bag you can see. A small muslin bag you can see. And inside the muslin bag a manganese dioxide and an activated carbon is set. First chemical manganese dioxide and so around the carbon rod what is there? A muslin bag is there. In the muslin bag what is kept? Manganese dioxide and activated carbon or charcoal. Okay, now again outside the muslin bag that means inside the sink container again a paste of ammonium chloride and plaster of Paris. What is? In the sink container just outside the muslin bag it is there the paste of ammonium chloride and plaster of Paris. So that's why it is called as a dry cell. We are using paste form. That's why it is called a dry cell. Again, and you know this portion. This portion you know, this will be insulation. That means it is not a conductor, that is not conducting the electricity, it is an insulator. So these three sides will be covered with an insulator and the bottom side will be free with the sink container. That means we have to connect them. This is the structure of dry cell, a cross-sectional view of a dry cell. So what is a dry cell? That cell which is producing the electric source, acting as a source of electricity, and in dry cell we know that it is situated in a sink container. At the center of the sink container there will be a carbon rod with a brass cap will be there, and around the carbon rod there is a muslin bag is there, and this muslin bag is filled with the manganese dioxide and activated carbon. Okay, now around the muslin bag there is sink container portion is there. Inside that one what is there? Paste of ammonium chloride and plaster of Paris. And just out of the sink container three sides will be covered with an insulation and the bottom side is not covered because we have to connect it negative terminal. Now again how it will work? That means when it is not connected it is not working. How can we connect? We can connect with a wire, a bulb can be given, a switch can be given and we connect with the negative terminal. Then when the switch is on the bulb will be glowing. Okay, this is how the dry cell is working. Now again, some advantages of dry cells are there. What are the advantages? These dry cells are different shapes and powers. That means normal, we know that button cells are round shaped, the remote batteries are smaller, little more bigger is the clock batteries, bigger is torch cells. Understood? No cells. Now, what is battery? Here also we can make the battery. That means sometimes with one cell the device will not work. For example, the remote toys cars are there. Maybe it will be 4 cells you have to add or 2 cells you have to add. So that means one cell cannot provide sufficient electricity. At that time we will combine cells together called battery. Some combine the cells together is called the battery. More than 2 or more than cells when we are combining they are called battery. Already I explained the secondary, that means inverter battery. Why we are calling as inverter battery? Each one is a secondary cell, a collection of secondary cell. Okay, so that's why. Now second one, unlike the liquid primary cells, they can be fitted inside a device without any risk of leakage or spilling of chemicals. Very important. Why? If it is a liquid cell is using, then we cannot shake it or we cannot take it the other side. We cannot. We have to take care of always the device. Otherwise, what will happen? Leakage will be there, spilling of out will be there. So this can be avoided when we are using dry cell. Then last one is they are easy and safe for transportation. If you want to take the device from here to the other side, very fastly you can do it. If it is liquid cell, you cannot because the liquid may spill it out. Okay, these are the advantages. Now what is batteries? Batteries are the combination of cells. Batteries are the combination of cells. Then moving to the last part, secondary cell. Already I have said that battery is secondary cell. Secondary cells can be recharged by passing electric current through them for some time. Then again we can use. Example mobile phone or example inverter battery. What we are doing when the charge is less or charge is getting over, we can pass the current through the current, we can recharge it, again we can use. They are called secondary cells. So lead acid battery or accumulator is there. Lead acid batteries are used in vehicle or inverters. Such batteries consist of several secondary cells connected together. Several secondary cells connected together. Here it will be in the form of liquid cell. Then we know that we used to put DM water, battery water, we used to put acid will be there. So many things will be there in the battery. Then again, dry batteries are also there even though it is a secondary cell. Example is the mobile phone's battery. Okay, example for dry cell in a secondary cell. So this is about our topic today. I hope you understood what are the sources of electricity, electric cell, primary and secondary cell. There are two types of these cells are there, dry cell and liquid cell. So there is one small homework for you. You have to take a white paper and on the white paper what you have to do? You have to draw the cross-sectional view of dry cell and you have to mark the part. A simple dry cell is there, that working you have to, that are the main parts you have to study also. Okay, very very important, page number 92, figure 7.8. So you can go through, you can read this portion maybe 3-4 times and if there is any doubt you can contact. Thank you.